The Church of the Nazarene in Zephyr Hills began meeting in a tent structure in 1946 for camp meeting style services under the leadership of Reverend T.E. Marshall. For the next 3 years, he led the group to become an organized church, and they built a basement building to meet in and later added a main floor. This structure is still standing as an apartment building at 5622 11th Street behind Stewart Middle School. After Reverend Marshall resigned, there were then 8 different pastors over the course of the next 13 years. Church records from this time period are scarce, but in 1962, the Reverend Leslie Poe and his wife Trudy moved down from North Florida with their kids and began leading the congregation. It was growing quite well under his leadership, and space in the church building became an issue. So in 1966, the church congregation sought a new piece of property under the leadership of Reverend Poe. They purchased it at a discount because the seller was a Christian who appreciated that a church would be built there, and they embarked on a building campaign. They moved into the new facility in 1969, beginning their services. During Reverend Poe's 9-year tenure, the church grew numerically and became a solid church. His legacy continues as we meet each week in what has been named the Poe Chapel. Carrying the momentum forward following Reverend Poe was the Reverend James Erickson and his wife Doris. They began serving in 1971 and saw very significant growth during his 12 years of service. The church grew from 90 in attendance to over 200, and the finances saw significant strengthening as well. They were able to build a new fellowship hall and with an educational facility as part of that plan. This building has over 3,000 square feet, and it was originally built with an open floor plan and accordion walls to make classrooms out of it. Activities in the late 70s and 80s included a county-led initiative to feed seniors called the Lunch Bunch, serving 75 meals daily in the hall. They also held blood pressure screenings multiple times every week. They had an active youth ministry with musical dramas and a puppet ministry. In 1979, a new parsonage was constructed across the road from the church with plenty of space in it, a large yard, and a prophet's quarters for traveling preachers, missionaries, and evangelists. The church went on a mission trip to Jamaica in 1981 and helped build a new roof for the church building there. The Jamaican church was so grateful that they sent a piece of the building back with the group from Zephyr Hills. This stone cross, mounted on a heavy piece of rough lumber, is still in our building. The congregation also did a mission to a church in Haiti in 1984. That same year, they held an old-fashioned camp meeting in a tent on the property and a children's crusade. By this time, Reverend Erickson had retired, and the Reverend Mel Barrows with his wife Lillian had become the pastor. While the congregation continued to grow, they held a Faith Promise Convention and raised over $22,000 to assist in the planting of 3 new churches, one in Seffner, Dade City, and a local African American congregation. This money also helped to support the Florida Nazarene District's Haitian Nazarene church planting efforts. In 1986, the congregation dedicated their newest building, a large multi-purpose gymnasium with a large modular platform and seating for several hundred with overflow in existing buildings. The week after it was dedicated, Dr. John Maxwell, yes, that Dr. Maxwell, visited and preached. It was an exciting year hosting the Nazarene Olympics for kids, an old-fashioned themed day, and the hiring of a youth pastor, Eugene Rotz. Under Eugene's influence, a Nazarene Christian school was opened. 9 students were graduated from this school. Within the next 3 years, there were some internal struggles, and differing groups wanted to go in different directions. The Wesley Chapel Nazarene Church split off from Zephyr Hills First Nazarene in 1989. 2 years later, in 1991, Pastor Mel Barrows resigned, and shortly after, Reverend David Holstein began his tenure for 3.5 years, followed by Tal Denny. Tal and Cheryl were here from 1995 until 2009. Many hearts and lives were blessed by his tenure. Associate Pastor Gary Cooper and his wife Lorraine started the Caring Heart Family Counseling Center at the church. However, for quite a few years, the church had been plagued with financial woes dating to the funding methods utilized in constructing the gymnasium, the building that was named after Reverend Erickson, called Erickson Auditorium. When Reverend Denny retired in 2009, Pastor Gary Larson was called from an associate pastor role at the Plant City Church. He and Lana, his wife, began their role as the pastor at Zephyr Hills First Nazarene. During the next year, the congregation was able to buy a home adjoining the current church property at a very affordable price, thanks to financing provided by a church member. They had previously sold both the parsonage that had been built in 1979 across the street and another staff house, so this new parsonage would help to provide a place for future pastors to live. Because of the large amount of buildings and square footage to maintain and the difficult financial picture, there was a need to create a new revenue stream while also ministering to the needs of our community. A vision was cast and the fellowship hall was renovated to become a daycare. Initial enrollment was less than a dozen children, but had begun growing within a few years. Pastor Gary stepped away from ministry in 2014, and later that year, Pastor Nick, oh hey, that's me, and his beautiful wife, Amy DeFord, moved from Tennessee. We've been blessed to raise Emma here for the last 9 years. During the 11 years and counting that we have been at First Nazarene, we've seen a lot of difficult seasons and a lot of great triumphs for God's kingdom. This church has worked to be a blessing to our community, offering free medical events, haircuts, and low-income Christmas celebrations, homeless cold weather shelters, and ongoing meals and showers currently twice per week. The 3 aging buildings require a lot of maintenance and require a lot of both givers and volunteers. Pastor Kendall provides an invaluable service both in working and coordinating helpers to get our maintenance up to date while also caring for the needs of many of the congregants. With the blessing of having such a valuable property, we have hosted space for annual fundraising banquets for multiple Christian organizations. We've partnered with the Zephyr Hills Pregnancy Care Center and a few other groups like Solo Moms, Food and Fellowship, and we've even hosted the Florida District a few times for annual gatherings of pastors. Additionally, we offer space to the Redeemed Disciples of the New Covenant Church, a Swahili language ministry, and we're beginning a partnership with Lugar Alto Church, which translates to high places, a Spanish language ministry. It's a blessing to be an incubator for new churches. Though our daycare had operated at capacity for a few years, the last 3 years have been a bit challenging. While there was a slow trickle downwards in enrollment figures and the ever-present struggle to connect with the families of the children that were enrolled, we have had a significant impact on many kids during our weekly chapel services led by Gail DeFord. Several of these kids have started a relationship with Jesus because of her work with them during the chapel. Although there were a lot of positives, we had some internal issues that we have been working to overcome. Ultimately, at the same time as the church board was contemplating how we could turn the daycare into a better success, the teachers and director were planning their exodus to go work at another center, and they encouraged the enrolled families to come with them. This left the church with no employees and very few students, and our only option at this point was to close the center. Taking things one at a time, we made the steps to close properly. Seeking God's direction for what to do with the building space, we were also digging into the history of this church in order to celebrate the 80th anniversary. God began to show us what to do with the building. The one main thing Jesus told his church to do: make disciples. So we are unveiling the discipleship place, a building redesignated to incubate disciples of Jesus. Here we will have space for adult Sunday school, Bible studies, recovery and addiction ministries, SHAPE study courses, and even a podcast studio to extend the digital ministry of the church and open it up to others who need space to do the same. So the question now is, what is God calling you to do in service to Him? What is He calling you to give to support the ministry? And where do you need to grow in your own personal holiness journey? It's a great time to be a part of First Nazarene as we honor the good things in the past and celebrate the future that Jesus is creating. I truly hope that you are committed to being a part of it. And if you need a place to grow, jump in and join us.